Good afternoon. Welcome back to the tavern and the Rogue's Kitchen. Going to be preparing another fantastic meal here created by the Rogue. This is another recipe that I have worked on and adapted. Can't lay claim to having done this one for years, but hey, it is what it is. Anyway, going to be making a meal tonight. Starting out, we're going to make some really quick chili. The chili itself comes together and is ready in about 35 or 40 minutes. Might not have as much flavor as one that's been simmering all day, but it's something you can do in a very short, quick period of time. After that, I'm going to be doing another one on how to make Ma's cornbread. This is a cornbread recipe I got from my ex-mother-in-law, really great lady, and she gave me this recipe a few years ago. I really saw no need to adjust it. It makes the perfect cornbread every time, and I will have to do a little work on my pan because I've been abusing my cast iron skillet the last few days, so it doesn't really have much of a finish on it. So I'm gonna have to give it a quick seasoning while we're preparing other things here. At any rate, without much further ado, let's get started, and we will start on the chili recipe. So you'll be able to find these. Oh, by the way, you'll be able to find these recipes on the website at theroguestavern.com/recipes. And you can get all the recipes and everything that I put in all these videos is all up there, along with extra ingredients that are only available at the Rogue's Tavern, such as the death pepper mix and other spices that I'm learning how to grow myself and prepare. All right, let's get started on this. All right, so first off, it's a quick, easy recipe. All you need is a couple cans of beans. Tonight's beans, navy beans, and black beans. So that's what we're going to have here. Black and white beans, a big can of diced tomatoes, a couple of onions. This is a larger onion, and a couple small onions equals 2 medium onions. So whatever works on it. I forgot the garlic. Can't forget the garlic. Now the recipe calls for 3 to 8 cloves of garlic. Depends on who you are and how much you like garlic. So you want lots of garlic for this, for lots of flavor. Then you need the following spices. You will need basil, cumin, cilantro, chili powder, oregano, and the death pepper mix. God, it's getting so shallow here. Look at that. That's all that's left from last year. I can't wait till my peppers get ripe and I can recreate this. Well, I'll never recreate this mix, but I'll create a new one that is just as good or better than this one. You know, I have no idea even what peppers went into it last year. Since forgotten. Alright, so let's get started. So first you need, hamburger. You need some hamburger. Or, I tried looking for my cubed beef, but I couldn't find it in the freezer. The freezer is such a big mess right now. Need a medium-sized to a larger pot. I got a perfect pot for this myself. Put that down here. Get that pot heated up. And heat the pot up, and then we'll throw the hamburger in there to start cooking while we prepare up all the other stuff. And since I got to prepare all this other stuff here, no sense in you watching that. We'll come back to the video after I've got all of this up, prepared, and ready and moving forward. Alright, we're just starting to add stuff into it now. So I better bring it back to the film. Finishing chopping the onions, adding those in. We got the hamburger in cooking. Chopping the onions, and we chop the garlic, and you get that all in there and simmering. You gotta get that all cooked down. It's a really quick recipe. This is the most amount of prep you'll do is in the garlic and the onion stage. Leave your hamburger cooked, and if you're like me and you forgot to leave your hamburger out of the fridge for deep thawing, it's still partially frozen. some garlic. This is where you add a little bit of salt at this point. Help it cook down a bit. Pull the water out. Ding, 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 ding-a-ling. And grind up some black pepper. I really got to get myself a power grinder. There are measurements for this, but I'm not measuring it tonight. It's just whatever looks right. What we'll do, yeah, that's about right. Okay, so we got the pepper ready. Okay, so you got to open up the cans, get them ready. Now, a little trick I've learned, if you're not eating your beans or your beans sitting on the shelf a long time, at the bottom of the can it gets settled. So what you got to do is you got to take your bean cans and you give them a good shake. Turn them upside down and shake them really good because it loosens up all that sediment off the bottom of the cans. And that sediment's really good for your stuff. So we don't drain the beans here, we just plop it all straight in. All straight in, same with the can of tomatoes. So let's get it all opened up. A can opener guaranteed to fail, even during an EMP. Manual can opener. What's funny is I can open a can faster with a manual can opener than somebody can open one with a power can opener. Especially if you got multiple cans to open. You can do multiple cans even faster. Unless, of course, you have some wrist problems. If you have wrist problems, you're going to have trouble opening a can with a manual can opener. So we got all the cans open. Side. For this, we've got to get the hamburger all cooked down first, and the onions and garlic all softened up, cooked up a bit. Once the hamburger's cooked, which it almost is now, another minute or two, we'll have the hamburger cooked up. So we should add a little bit more salt. That should do it for the salt. Out of the way. And then we'll start to add the spices. And then we'll just adjust the flavor as we go later on. As I say, cooking's part science, part art. Science and measurements, some things have got to be precisely measured. Many things, many recipes are all about what tastes good, what feels good. You know, bread, that one's got to be pretty much scientifically accurate so you get the right rise and flow on it. I used to try experimenting with bread, but I found it didn't work so well. Alright, so we've got the hamburger cooked down now. So now we've got hamburgers and onions and garlic all cooked up here together with a little bit of salt. Okay, so now we need to throw in the spices. I always throw my spices in now. So we need some basil. There's the black pepper. Cumin. Definitely need the cumin. Okay, a little bit of cilantro. Chili powder, you need a decent amount of chili powder. That's your major flavoring. Oregano, a good amount of oregano. Now the reason you put these in before you put in any other liquids is I found, and I can't remember where I picked up this tip on a pro cooking show or some other recipe, somewhere, is when you put the spices in before you put other liquids in, the spices absorb and work with the oils from the meats that you're cooking, and it causes the spices to become a little more flavorful. Especially useful when you're using dried spices or spices that you've dried that have been hanging around for a long time. Plus you can also brown the spices a little, adding just that much more flavor to what you're doing. One of the big secrets, they don't tell you this on all those cooking shows and everything else, if you pay attention, their biggest secret is they remove all kinds of liquid and they add in flavorful liquids, which is what we're going to do now. Okay, we're going to add in a can of beans, black beans, a can of black beans, a can of navy beans, and a can of tomatoes. Look at that, just fits in the pot. Then you heat up a bit, then start stirring it all up. And we gotta get it to a boil and then let it simmer. So you need a good medium-sized pot here. Medium to a large pot. Large would have been too big. This is a medium-large pot. Couldn't tell you how many quarts. Probably a 2-quart. Maybe a 4-quart. No, 2-quart. 2-quart pot. I tell you, well, pints, yeah, quarts, 1 quart, 2 quarts, yeah, about 2 quarts. About a 2-quart pot. Alright, so now we have it all mixed up. Oh, one thing we missed. Haha, we almost forgot. Death pepper mix. Gotta have a little bit of that. Give it that nice extra touch of kick in there. You don't need a whole lot because this is some pretty potent pepper. Next year it'll be even more potent. I get to put some awesome peppers into it next year, like Carolina Reaper, Mad Hatter. I can't think of all the other ones now. Talked about them in the other videos. And all my other videos on the site, I've talked about all the different peppers that I'm growing this year. So let's have a taste. See what it tastes like. It's going to be cold, but that'll work well. Okay, once we get it to a boil, we put a lid on it, let it simmer for half an hour, and away we go. Alright, need another picture for it. Alright, we'll come back to this when we get started on the cornmeal, or cornbread. Okay, what you see me sneaking in here doing, folks, is quickly recreating a finish. The finish isn't the right word. A seal. Cast iron. Why does the word escape me? I had it 2 minutes ago. Anyway, I got to stir the chili here. It's starting to get bubbly. You know, when you treat your cast iron poorly over a week or so, and you haven't been working on keeping the finish protected, you can quickly refinish it by getting it really hot on your stove and then using some dabs of coconut oil or peanut oil or some high smoke point oil and a paper towel, and then just wipe it and then just let it sit, and you will get that finish you need, that nice non-stick finish that only cast iron can provide. Say, we're going to make the cornbread. For the cornbread, we need the following. Need a large bowl, well, okay, a cup of cornmeal, which I've got the cornmeal right here. This is my own ground cornmeal, fresh from popcorn. Makes really excellent cornmeal. 3/4 cup of flour, which I've already got in the bowl. Need baking powder, which I've got right here. Half teaspoon of salt, which I've got here. Powdered milk over there, brown sugar over there, and then we need something for the wet ingredients. And what I often use is, where's it at? Oh, here it is. I use my big 4-cup thing for mixing wet ingredients like this. We're going to put in, we need a cup of water and a large egg and 2 tablespoons of oil. So, put in a cup of water. large egg and 2 tablespoons of oil. But before we mix oil in there, we'll set this aside. Let's get our cup of cornmeal mixed into the flour. So, there's 1/4. 1/2. 3/4. Just enough. I gotta grind some more cornmeal this next week. Next time I make cornmeal. 1 cup. 1 cup of cornmeal. And I'm all out of cornmeal. Alright. Need to grind some more. Okay, and salt. We need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. This doesn't need to be measured. So measuring spoons. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And baking powder in this jar is getting empty. 1, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Then we're also going to need a tablespoon of brown sugar and 2 tablespoons of powdered milk. 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of powdered milk. So let's get the powdered milk. One, 2, and then brown sugar. Try that again. I'm not using my brown sugar fast enough. 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Okay, powdered milk. Okay, this is hot and boiling. Keep that nice simmer. Keep them sticking to the bottom of the pan. Okay, let that simmer some more. Okay, we've got all that. Sugar, salt, baking powder, flour, cornmeal. Okay, so you take all that stuff there, and then you grab a whisk. Where's my whisk at? There it is. And you mix this stuff up really well. Get all the dry ingredients mixed really well. So before you mix the wet and the dry ingredients together, but we're not ready for that. We just need to get this mixed up really well. Get the brown sugar all broken up and the cornmeal well distributed and even through everything. Large chunks of brown sugar all loosened up. Okay, so now we're on to the liquid, and it's 1 cup of water, 2 tablespoons of oil. So grab your oil or your 2 tablespoon mixture. Okay, 2 tablespoons of oil. I use olive oil. You can use whatever oil you prefer. Any oil will do. And then an egg. Now there's a reason for this, in case you're not aware of the science behind it. Oil and water don't mix. But you can make oil and water mix together and stay together if you add a lecithin ingredient. An egg is naturally full of lecithin. So what happens is when you add an egg, you cause the oil and water to blend together and stay together. And we just let that sit for a few. We got to make sure the oven's on heated up, and it's supposed to be at 350. So we got it at 350, oven's up to 350 degrees. It's all set. So what we do is we mix that and we pour it all in here into the cast iron skillet, and then we insert it into the oven. Okay, so let's deal with that right now. We don't need this, but we do need this. And spatula here. So pour this in, mix it all up together. You've got a nice, good slurry dough. Make sure you get all the wet, dry ingredients thoroughly mixed in. So you got a good wet dough. Okay, put it in your nice seasoned cast iron skillet. Or any other type of pan if you don't like cast iron. I prefer cast iron for this. Very versatile. Goes from tabletop or stovetop to the oven to the tabletop if need be. Just put it all in there. Sort of push it around, give it a little bit of evening. Make it a little even in there. Okay. And in the oven, this goes for half an hour. About the time the cornbread is done, the chili will be done. 25 to 30 minutes in there, and we'll be done. So we'll be talking after this is done. Alrighty, take care. Alrighty, it is time to yank out the cornbread. Pull it from the oven. Get the cornbread out. Oh, look. Perfect. Look at that. One piece of cornbread. Then we've got the chili, which has been sitting over here simmering. So we got chili and cornbread for dinner. A very nice meal. We'll get the cornbread off, let it cool, and then we serve up dinner. Excellent. So that's how you make it all. Hope you enjoy it, folks. Enjoy the recipes. Find the recipes over at theroguestavern.com. If you like what you're seeing, please share these videos, like them, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And hey, we take value for value. Remember that. You get value, give us some value back. That's all we got for you now. Take care. Bye-bye.